guys! So funny bumping into you.
Yeah, I mean, we all live here now, so not that funny.
Just makes more people like them. This whole thing is wrong. They're telling you guys to reduce yourself into products.
We couldn't get jobs and we ran out of money. We ate chicken out of bowls and rode in big cars full of smelly people to something called work. Every day was a new nightmare.
We're just performers instead of human beings.
He's right. Trying to make ourselves into a brand just turned us into products. We don't need to be a brand, do we?
Cereal! And yes, you have to pay for everything, Harry. Life is hard. Most people struggle.
I have red hair. I know struggle.
Park County Police Station, what's your emergency?
Yeah, the neighbors across the street are setting off fireworks and it's 10:30 at night.
Oh, is it the Prince of Canada and his wife who just want to be left alone?
Hey! You ever heard of a thing called privacy?
Yeah, nobody gives a shit. Will you two just shut up and go away?
Yeah, come on, honey. We don't need this place.
Honey?
It started with a few blurry images, then exploded. Leaked South Park sketches, allegedly from an unreleased episode, showed Meghan Markle glitching like a broken robot and Prince Harry dangling from puppet strings. The scenes were brutal, and nothing like what aired before.
How dare you, sir? My Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy!
Fans immediately asked, why were these cut? Was it too controversial, or were the Sussexes involved behind the scenes? The timing raised eyebrows. These leaks surfaced not long after reports of Meghan's legal team pushing back against previous South Park mockery. And suddenly, this wasn't just about satire anymore. It was about control, image, and a cartoon war nobody saw coming.
If it's truly what we want, then we really can get away from it all. No more magazines and Netflix shows. We really can live a normal life. Yes, I'm sure you agree, darling.
Right after the leaks went viral, reports surfaced that Meghan's legal team allegedly jumped into action. Fast. Behind the scenes, sources claim cease and desist letters were quietly sent to studios and even social media platforms. It wasn't the first time. After South Park mocked them in 2023, rumors of legal threats swirled. But this time the footage was raw and unfiltered, and that made it worse. Trying to silence it only drew more attention. Memes exploded, news outlets covered it, and Meghan, she now faced a bigger fear, one she couldn't control. As the internet roasted Meghan and Harry again, brands started backing away. Quietly, but clearly.
Jesus, what did they do to you?
We'll just have to find a way to make £50 billion on our own.
According to industry insiders, several major sponsorships either froze or disappeared entirely from Sussex-linked platforms. One streaming partner allegedly paused talks on a follow-up project, while a luxury brand quietly pulled Meghan's image from a promo campaign. Why? Because the leaks weren't just viral. They were toxic. Brands don't want controversy. And suddenly, Meghan and Harry were trending for all the wrong reasons. Not for charity, not for activism, but for becoming the punchline again. And that's when the real panic started. As chaos erupted online, the creators of South Park, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, said nothing. No denial, no confirmation, just silence. And that silence, it spoke volumes.
What happened to your ring?
I gave it to the working people.
We're the working people. I'm sorry, I need a drink.
Fans began digging, claiming the leaked scenes looked too detailed to be fake. The style, the voices, even the glitches matched South Park's unfinished animation process. Some even pointed out that Trey and Matt have a history of pushing limits, then backing off just enough to avoid legal landmines. So why go quiet now? According to insiders, it may be strategic. If legal threats really were made, public comments could make things worse. But the silence also fueled more speculation. Did they leak the clips on purpose? Nobody knows for sure. But one thing was clear. South Park wasn't done with Meghan just yet. Just when things couldn't get more bizarre, Reddit lit up with a wild theory. What if the leaked clips weren't real at all, but AI generated?
We couldn't get jobs and we ran out of money. We ate chicken out of bowls and rode in big cars full of smelly people to something called work. Every day was a new nightmare.
Some users claimed the scenes had subtle glitches. Frames looping, mouths not syncing, shadows flickering. At first, it seemed like typical South Park rough animation, but digital artists began saying it looked too artificial, like it came from an AI trained on South Park's style. One TikTok even broke it down frame by frame, claiming the characters glitched exactly like known deepfake outputs. Was this an elaborate prank? A fan-made AI parody? Or worse, a fake leak meant to stir backlash and then pin it on South Park? Nobody could agree, but the damage was already done. Meghan's name was trending, again, for all the wrong reasons. And suddenly, the line between reality and satire was completely blurred. As the clips kept spreading, royal watchers noticed something strange. Kensington Palace stayed completely silent. No defense, no outrage, nothing.
Cereal. And yes, you have to pay for everything, Harry. Life is hard. Most people struggle.
I have red hair. I know struggle.
Sources close to royal aides claimed they were told to stay out of it. And according to one royal expert, the palace saw it as Meghan's mess to clean up. But that silence hurt even more. Back in California, Meghan's team was allegedly in full-blown panic mode. One PR insider claimed her team scrambled to shift headlines, sending out charity photos, press releases, and positive stories to counter the wave of mocking content. It didn't work. The more they pushed, the more the internet mocked them. Late-night shows picked up the story, YouTubers made breakdowns, and suddenly, Meghan's media machine, once sharp and calculated, looked chaotic and out of control. It wasn't just a PR nightmare, it was a public unraveling. The fallout didn't stop with the palace's quiet silence or Meghan's attempts to control the narrative. What followed was a much harsher reaction. From the public itself, fans who once admired her without question began to reconsider everything they thought they knew. The stories Meghan shared, once accepted as heartfelt truths, were now met with growing skepticism and suspicion. Social media became a battlefield, exploding with heated debates. Hashtags criticizing Meghan trended worldwide, sparking waves of backlash across platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Polls taken during this period showed a sharp decline in her favorability ratings, marking a dramatic and swift shift few anticipated. The shift wasn't limited to strangers online. Even some of Meghan's closest allies began to distance themselves, choosing silence over support. Friends and confidants who had stood firmly by her side suddenly unfollowed her on social media, declined requests for interviews, or quietly removed themselves from public discussions. This retreat sent a loud, unmistakable message. Inside the once tight-knit circle, doubts and disagreements were growing. The public was left to wonder if these fractures hinted at deeper struggles beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the media landscape transformed overnight. Publications that had once portrayed Meghan in a sympathetic, even heroic light, now adopted a more critical tone. Investigative pieces appeared, highlighting inconsistencies between Meghan's public accounts and insider reports. Some articles suggested that her carefully curated image was more complicated and sometimes contradictory than previously believed. The once warm spotlight surrounding Meghan shifted into a harsh, unforgiving glare. Headlines questioned her motives, her truthfulness, and even her intentions. This backlash wasn't a minor hiccup or a fleeting moment of controversy. It was a seismic change in public perception, a turning point that chipped away at Meghan's carefully constructed narrative and reputation. The questions raised were difficult to ignore, and the court of public opinion seemed less willing than ever to give her the benefit of the doubt. In response, Meghan's team mounted an aggressive and carefully orchestrated campaign to try and regain control. Scripted interviews were arranged with precision, designed to show vulnerability and transparency. Social media posts became highly strategic, aiming to steer the conversation back to more favorable ground. But these efforts often backfired, with many viewers and commentators accusing her of being too rehearsed or manipulative. Behind the scenes, sources say, the pressure was immense. Friends and family reportedly worried about the emotional toll this cycle of backlash was taking. The constant public scrutiny, paired with the relentless media attention, created a storm that was difficult to weather. Attempts to push back or explain away controversies only seemed to fuel the fire. And what happened next only served to deepen the divide. More revelations, rumors, and leaked information surfaced, pulling Meghan deeper into a cycle of conflict and media storms. The controversy intensified, feeding a narrative that was no longer just about Meghan's past actions, but about the very authenticity of her story. For many, this was no longer just a royal saga, it became a cautionary tale of fame, power, and the cost of public scrutiny. And while Meghan worked hard to rewrite the narrative, the public watched closely, divided and captivated by the unfolding drama. The story was far from over, and for those paying attention, it was clear this was only the beginning of a far more complex chapter. But the backlash wasn't just about public opinion, it soon spilled over into Meghan's professional world. Reports emerged that several high-profile projects she had been involved in faced unexpected cancellations or delays. Sources say that behind closed doors, some collaborators grew wary of associating with her, fearing the controversy would overshadow their own work. Deals that once seemed secure were suddenly on shaky ground, and the doors to new opportunities began to close more quickly than anyone expected. At the same time, whispers of tension within Meghan's inner circle started surfacing. Friends and insiders allegedly struggled to keep up with the constant media storms, with some reportedly advising her to lay low and avoid further public confrontations. But Meghan appeared determined to fight back, using her platform to push her version of the story even harder. This created a split between those who wanted peace and those ready to escalate the conflict. Meanwhile, the royal family's response remained carefully measured but unmistakably firm. Official statements were brief and rare, often emphasizing respect for privacy without offering direct support. Observers noted that this silence was strategic, intended to avoid fueling the fire while maintaining a distance. Yet, this restraint only added fuel to speculation, as rumors filled the gaps left by official silence. The result? A perfect storm of tension, mistrust, and uncertainty swirling around Meghan's public and private life. Every move she made was analyzed, every word dissected, and with each new revelation or rumor, the pressure mounted higher. But this wasn't just a story about backlash or failed projects. It was about a woman caught in the eye of a media hurricane, struggling to navigate a world that seemed intent on tearing her down. And the consequences of this storm would ripple far beyond Meghan herself. What followed next would surprise even the most seasoned observers and change everything. Just when it seemed the storm couldn't get any worse, another bombshell dropped. Sources say leaked messages and private conversations began surfacing online, revealing a side of the conflict no one had expected. These exchanges painted a complex picture, one filled with misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and behind-the-scenes clashes that went far beyond the headlines. Some of these messages allegedly showed Meghan pushing hard against those she felt had betrayed her, while others revealed attempts at reconciliation that never quite took hold. The leaks ignited a fresh wave of controversy, dividing public opinion even further. Fans who had stood by her started questioning the truth, while critics found new ammunition to intensify their attacks. Meanwhile, the media frenzy ramped up to a new level. Tabloids and talk shows dissected every word and image, spinning narratives that sometimes contradicted each other. Social media exploded with debates, memes, and heated discussions, turning the situation into a viral spectacle. For Meghan, this meant no respite. Every moment was under the spotlight, every misstep magnified. At the same time, the effects on her personal life became harder to ignore. Close sources allege that the constant pressure and public scrutiny took a toll on her mental and emotional well-being. Friends noticed changes, with Meghan reportedly withdrawing from some social circles and growing more cautious about who she trusted. Yet, despite the chaos, Meghan remained visible, determined to control her own narrative. Through carefully curated interviews and social media posts, she sought to connect with her audience directly, bypassing traditional media filters. This approach won her new supporters, but also invited fresh criticism, creating an ongoing tug-of-war between public sympathy and skepticism. This chapter wasn't just about headlines, it was about power struggles, fragile alliances, and a battle over truth itself. And as the story unfolded, the stakes kept rising. But even all this drama was just the beginning. What happened next would shock everyone. As the story unfolds, it's clear that what we see on the surface is only part of the picture. Sources say that behind the headlines and public appearances, deeper struggles and unexpected twists continue to shape this story. Whether it's ongoing rumors or fresh developments, the truth remains just out of reach, leaving fans and critics alike eager for what comes next. One thing is certain, this story is far from over, and what happens next could change everything. Stay tuned because the next chapter might just shock everyone.